Hi everybody, welcome back to Practically Creative today. My name's Melissa. This month's block of the month is the pumpkin prompt. I'm doing this along with Sylvia at You and Me FPP and Colleen at Colleen Sews and Chats. What I did for my pumpkin this month is I started out by sewing some jelly roll strips together. These were some that I had left over from other projects, and I really thought that they would make a cute pumpkin. You'll find out at the end that I think I'm right. So we're just sewing the strips together so that they are the same width as my pumpkin that's laying down there on the table. I've sewn them. I've divided the two in half, and then I'm going to sew them so that the two similar fabrics are in the center, because the center part of my pumpkin is wider than the outer part. And now what I'm doing is I'm drawing the pumpkin onto some heat and bond. This pumpkin is pretty much symmetrical, so it doesn't matter that I drew it onto the front or the back or any of that. That's not going to be an issue. And I'm also drawing in the stem and the two leaves that are on here. I've done this often enough that you guys probably know that when I draw a broken line on something, it means that it's going to go underneath another element. And now I've got everything drawn out. I'm going to adjust my camera so that you can see that I'm ironing the pieces that I drew onto the back of fabric. And I'm going to start with the pumpkin and the two leaves. Oh yes, and I have to conserve fabric, right? Let me adjust the camera so you guys can see better. At least I hope that's what I'm doing. Oops, sorry. Cover your eyes. There's all kinds of guidelines out there for various kinds of heat and bond. I just ironed mine down for a few seconds. And now I'm going to iron my seams flat on the part that I pieced together. Sometimes I iron these seams open, but I apparently didn't this day. Quick press to the front to make sure that everything's laying flat. And then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to put the pumpkin body itself onto the back of the fabric. And then I'm going to iron it down. Obviously my heat and bond had some crinkle wrinkles in it. Sorry about that. And you're supposed to press, not iron. I could go back and smack my own hand, I would. And then here is our background fabric. We're going to fold it in half, and then in half again. And I'm going to give it a really good but quick iron. What I'm looking to get here is just the marks so that I can figure out where the center of that block is. Arthur was in full force this day, obviously. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the pumpkin, the star, and the stem. And I'm only going to show you the pumpkin up close and at regular speed. just to make it kind of quick. I know a couple of you other arthritis warriors out there are going, oh, my hands hurt. There's no other way to cut this one out. I needed the big scissors. And now I've got it sped up. Pumpkin, now the stem. And then I'm going to switch to the little scissors for the leaves. I keep wanting to call them stars. I don't know why. Wish I could cut that fast. And I could have put this into my scan and cut it out, but it just really wasn't worth it to me. Well, it wasn't worth it until I figured out we were doing another Halloween project. Alright, now here I am. I'm peeling the paper off of the back of the Heat and Bond. And you can see that shiny side there. So we know that the adhesive stuck to the pumpkin. I'm going to set it down, get it where I want it. And then I'm going to peel the paper off the back of the stem. Why that word keeps escaping me today, I don't know. I'm going to tuck it just a little bit behind that pumpkin. Remember, that's where my dotted line was. And here's the only time that the symmetry actually matters, is I have to tilt the little stem a little bit differently because it's backwards from how it was drawn initially. And if you look closely, you can see over there by my sewing machine that I have the pumpkin picture up there so that I can refer back to it. Those two weren't too tough to peel. So now I'm going to look, and I'm having a hard time deciding where those leaves should go. So I decided I should go ahead and draw in my little curly cues. You're going to see I made a big mistake whenever I went to sew these curly cues in. And I didn't even realize it until I was watching the video back, and I thought, now why did you do that way? I'll explain that in just a minute. So here I am trying to figure out where do I put the curly cues so that the leaves will meet up with them. And now that I've got that all drawn on there, I'm going to take my iron and I'm going to press everything down. I guess when I started recording this video I wasn't thinking, but you are supposed to press and not iron whenever you use Heat and Bond. Alright, so I've got everything ironed down or pressed down, and now I'm going to go ahead and do the embroidery on my regular domestic sewing machine. It's a Baby Lock Jazz 2. I'm using a 1 stitch length and a 4 stitch width on this as a zigzag so that I can do all the embroidery. And I started with the center section. And now I'm going to do the stem. And the reason I'm doing it center section and then the stem is that the outside of the pumpkin gets embroidered over everything else. So I want to do the outside part of the pumpkin as the last part of the embroidery here. And I'm just being very slow and very careful, trying to stay right on the edges of it. But that's also why I use the wider zigzag, is so that I don't miss edges as much. The narrower the zigzag you use, the harder it is to keep everything going where you want. And I've said it a million times, if you're going around a curve and it's an outside curve, you want to make sure that if you stop, your needle is on the inside. If you're going around an inside curve, you want to stop with your needle on the outside. That's so that everything stays lined up and you don't have jagged edges. And now we're going to speed this up so that we get through it quickly. I doubt anybody wants to sit and watch me do this all at regular speed, because I believe this took me about 5 minutes to do just the pumpkin part. Alright, and now that I've got the pumpkin part done, or almost done, kind of laughing at myself pulling threads there. Alright, when I was recording this, I switched back to a straight stitch and a very short length, and I used this presser foot. And here's where I'm like, why did I do it this way? I should have put my free motion foot on here, and I would have been able to do all of this literally without having to worry about it. For some reason, my brain said, do this with your regular presser foot in a straight stitch. So I'm having to turn and turn and turn and turn, and I don't follow the line I drew very well. I think it looks fine when it's all done, but if you do this, use the free motion foot. It's so much easier than doing it this way. Work smart, not hard. So you can laugh at my mistakes, and you can do it right, and you can come back later and say, hey Melissa, mine looks better than yours, because it does. I believe I speed this up in just a second for you. And where this really becomes a pain is when I start trying to go around those leaves. They would have been easier with the presser foot too, with the free motion foot also. I could have dropped my feed dogs and done the whole thing in like a minute and a half, instead of this long tedious thing that I did here. I don't know, maybe I was asleep at the wheel. You never can tell with me, right? And I'm going to blame it on Arthur. You can see how swollen my hands are here. I was stitching this because I was like, I need to get it done by X date so that I can make sure it's up on time. And don't be like me. Take your foot off the presser foot whenever you are stopping sewing. That's why I had to cut those threads out there. I just took a big old jump stitch a direction that I didn't want to go. Alright, so I'm going to let you watch the rest of it in fast forward, and then I will show you the final product at the end. Thank you for watching. I appreciate everybody being here, and I hope you have a great day. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a like, maybe subscribe, or share this with someone you know that might want to see how to do some embroidery the wrong way. My next video will have it done properly with the free motion foot. Have a great day. Bye-bye.